Hello and welcome to the Red Bra Project. We are here with episode number 62 today, and I am literally doing backflips. I'm so, not really, but in my mind, I'm doing backflips because I'm so excited to introduce our awesome guest. I'm going to say a quick hi to Shauna over there. We are opposites. I'm wearing sleeves, no sleeves, and she's all bundled up. How you doing?
I have the turtleneck. There was frost on my car this morning, so I can't. Welcome to the New England.
No, thank you.
This is the global warming they warned us about. So,
Exactly. Well, it's great to see you. And without
you as well.
thank you. Without further ado, I do want to jump right into our episode because we have so much ground and so much to talk about with the amazing, talented, fun, creative, beautiful Keenya Kelly. So welcome to the Red Bra Project.
Yay, I'm so glad to be here. Thank you guys.
Absolutely. Why don't you start off by telling us a little bit about your history and kind of, your background a little bit, where you're coming from to today.
Yeah, so I currently live in Redding, California, which is population 5 people. But I was born in Chicago, raised in Kentucky. I lived in Richmond, Virginia for 8 years, Houston, Texas for 4, and now 1 year here in Redding. A lot of people know me online because I'm a branding and marketing consultant, but the TikTok world knows me as the divorce lady. And so it's like I'm all the things to everybody.
Well, that's a good thing, right?
Yeah, totally. I'm like, I'm single, ready to mingle.
That's right. There you go. Oh my goodness. Well, you have certainly been around the United States enough to get to know the areas quite well.
Totally.
Awesome. So I know that we've got lots to talk about because between TikTok and Instagram Reels, and part of what attracted us to you was just your energy, your vibrant energy, your authenticity, and the fact that you're genuine. And then you just kind of drop little bits of your history and your own story into what you're sharing with other people. And everything just becomes that much more amazing and kind of like you get to know you right away. So before you got into TikTok and Instagram Reels and everything, let's take it all the way back.
Yeah.
What made you decide that you weren't maybe quite cut out for the corporate world and more a boss of yourself?
Yeah. So when basically as a kid, I was like an entrepreneur at heart. Like I would go to the little store up the street and buy candy for 5 cents and sell it for 25. It was like a thing. And it was just in me. Now I learned that my dad was an entrepreneur years ago. And so I kind of like had that DNA. But what ended up really catapulting me is that my second year in college, someone recruited me in a network marketing company. Now, I heard that it was a get rich quick scheme and all that, but I was like, I don't know what else to do because this job ain't working for me. And so I ended up getting into network marketing, and the mentor I had was amazing. He forced me to read books. It was insane. Like within 8 months, I hit the top of that company. But in addition to that, in network marketing, you have to recruit people, you have to lead people. So you have to become a good person. You have to become a good leader. And so I had to read all these John C. Maxwell books, all the Dale Carnegies and the Tracy, what's his name? Zig Ziglar and all them. And that caused me to learn more about entrepreneurship. And the more I learned about it, I watched people make $200,000, $500,000, $1 million a month. And it was like, wait a minute, this is insane. But in the midst of all that, I also became very prideful. And so I was, they say pride comes before the fall. And so I had all the things and I lost all the things. And so I ended up having to go back and get a job. But after working in the corporate world for like 2 or 3 years, I was like, this is for the birds. Like this lady is telling me what to do and I can run circles around her. And so I was dealing with pride there too. But I just kind of had this knowing that I had these giftings, this talent, and this knowledge for entrepreneurship. I just need to figure out what my road was. And that's what caused me to go, let's jump into something. And my first actual business was a trade show teaching Black women how to care for their curly hair.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that. I love the rise and fall because I think that's so relatable to a lot of people right now too. When you think about what the world has seen, our unemployment rates are high right now, and you have these individuals who maybe were at the top of their field, but that's why they were laid off or let go for whatever reason. And so speak to them about how you bounced back and how you built that resiliency in yourself.
Yeah, so I've had plenty of rises and falls, including, of course, but I would say back then with the network marketing company, I feel like the number one thing that I had going for me when I had the rise and fall was they forced me to read all these books. I had like sometimes I was reading like 3 books a month because I was so excited about what was on the inside of them. And so when I had the rise in business and featured in magazines and all that, and then lost it all, even though I was sad and felt like a failure, all that stuff was still on the inside of me. So no matter what my job was, no matter what my circumstance was, I could not delete what I already knew. I couldn't delete what I had already experienced. And so for the person that's already had success and then right now is dealing with all the things that our country and our world is dealing with, some of them are looking at themselves as, I'm a failure because of this. But they have to remember that no, failure is when you die. Like if you're dead, then you're a failure. Like it's just an event. It's not the rest of your life. And a person just has to go, wait a minute, what do I know? I know this, I know that. Just because I no longer have this position or this house or this car or this marriage doesn't make me a failure. It means that thing failed, but I can start new and do something else. But my biggest thing was books. Like the more I had in me, the more I could, be encouraged by.
Keenya, that's such an important point because, like you said, you feel like a failure when your marriage fails or when you are out of a job, or, we so often define ourselves by titles and what do you do and what have you done? And you don't realize it. But when those things are literally taken away from you, whether by your choice or not, it can be a big struggle. And to find that belief in yourself again is so powerful. But it sounds like you went back to remembering what you read and knowing that that's what you felt in your heart.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of what, when I was working the job, I would say, I think I was like 25. So I was still pretty young, young to me or whatever. But it was like something was still there. It was like no matter how much I made or how little I made, I just still knew that it was available to me. You know what I mean? Like you cannot listen to Jim Rohn and Zig Ziglar and John Maxwell for 10 years and not still have that stuff on the inside of you. And that's why I tell people that, no matter what you're doing, whether it's a job, your mom or whatever it is, you've got to be pouring stuff in you because you're going to have moments. Everybody has up and down moments. It's just seasons. It's what life is. And the thing that pulls you out of dark seasons is what you've done in those high seasons,
Yeah.
Oh, I'm like, God, I need more of that. Like, just, I think and like Renee already said, you're just so motivating and energetic. And it's really refreshing. And, I think I am your hurdle because I'm the person that's like afraid of TikTok and like afraid of all the things you're doing because I couldn't even figure out Snapchat. So talk to us a little bit about your social media and your branding and how you're reaching the difficult people like me.
Yeah, totally. Now listen, like I'm not the greatest tech savvy person either. I got on Snapchat and was like, what is going on? I never really built Snapchat. I was like, I just like the dog filter or like the glass.
I was like, who do I send this to? I don't have anybody.
That's all I had. I was like, well, that was that. But for me, with social media, like when we launched our business in 2016, that was like, I was battling depression from my divorce. But I saw that live stream was happening and I was kind of like, I am depressed. I am sad, but I still know that I could be a millionaire. So let me come on Periscope and see what the world is going on. And I watched people make millions of dollars. And I was like, wait a minute, I know you. How in the world? And I decided that I was going to be the old dog that had to just learn the new tricks. And I ended up starting out just teaching branding on social media, just teaching it. I didn't have anything, but people started demanding me to design their website for them and their logos. And I'm like, I don't have a company. I work for Sprint on the corporate side. But I realized, wait a minute, I've got something. I need to figure this thing out, right? And so that's what kind of started our business. And then with social media is how we gained all our customers. Now with TikTok, that literally came about because of quarantine. Right. So I live here in California in Redding, and there's a school here called Bethel School of Supernatural Ministry. Thousands of students come every year and they live together in houses together. So I felt like I heard God tell me to rent a house and rent out rooms to students. And I'm thinking, no, Jesus, I don't want to do that. I want to live by myself. But I did what he told me to do because like I just always do whatever he says. But then when everything happened with COVID, we were all like, we had the quarantine. Now, I worked from home at that time. While they were in school, I was working, and I realized this ain't gonna work. With these 20-year-old kids in this house and them afraid for their lives, they are stressing me out. And so God ended up giving me an office like down the road from the house and told me to get on TikTok. And I was like, what does God know about TikTok? Like, what do you know about that? And I felt like he said, well, I created it, so I know everything. And, and I was like, so why would I get on that? He goes, well, you're really stressed. You're really afraid for your life. You need entertainment. You need hope. You need joy, but you also carry a lot of joys. I need you to go be joyful on TikTok, and you're going to give people hope, and you're going to get hope back. And I was like, okay, this is weird, but okay. So I get on there, have no idea what I'm doing, all the buttons, all the things. I'm like, what is happening? All the kids on there dancing and whatever. And so finally I decided if he wants me to get on here, I got to learn it. And plus Shalene Johnson kept telling me to get on TikTok. So I get on TikTok, I post a couple videos, nothing really happens. And then I see somebody get on TikTok, a white girl. She goes to a black church, like an all black church for the very first time. And she says she was blown away by all the different types of ways that black people shout. And so she starts imitating all the black people shouting. And I thought it was the funniest thing. So I did what's called a side-by-side duet, and I posted it on TikTok, and it went viral. I got like 10,000 followers and all the things. And I was like, okay, wait. And so even though that was fun, I was like, this is crazy. I've never gone viral before or 10,000 followers anywhere, But I started seeing the marketers who were on there entertaining, but using what I call edutainment, educating while you entertain. I watched them do it, and I watched their videos go viral. And I said, I can be entertaining. I know how to dance. I can do this. I can do that. So I started doing little dances that I could learn, and I would educate in the videos. And I just kept blowing up, blowing up, blowing up, blowing up. Fast forward, it's been 5 months since I've been on TikTok. I still have the #1 trending video in the self-care routine above Tyra Banks, right? And we went from 0 followers to 75,000 in 5 months. If that's not convincing, I don't know what is, Shauna.
I mean, I was just convinced at the Tyra Banks. I was like, she's higher than Tyra Banks.
Crazy.
Okay. There's a lot to learn there, though. But you definitely pitched it well.
Thank you very much.
I love that.
Renee, that's our next platform.
Oh, I mean, I know. Well, we're going to get, I know that there's a $20 course in there somewhere that we'll talk about in a little bit. But I mean, I'm loving this story, and I know that you sound fearless, right? You sound fearless just going through all of this. You're like, you know what? I was out of college, network marketing biz. I'm like, oh, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to figure it out. I made lots of money. My ego grew. I lost all that money, and you had to go back to a cubicle or, a walled-in job. No offense, but that can be quite a career change. And then when you thought you hit rock bottom there, you did it in a different way through your divorce and marriage. And that's, you kind of, I feel like, did you heal through sharing about that?
So divorce was awful. I mean, just absolutely the worst thing ever, especially because my ex-husband was my first intimate partner, right? I waited basically my whole life. And so I was 30 by the time I had met him. And so realizing, like, when I found out that he was unfaithful, I just couldn't even fathom that this could even happen in general to me, and that he would do it, but I remember, I'll never forget, when I was laying on the bed one day, it was like maybe 30 days after I found out that he cheated, and I could just hear John C. Maxwell screaming. I could hear Brian Tracy. I could hear Les Brown. All the books I have read, they were all screaming, "You're amazing. You're better than this." Because, I'm like, oh, maybe I should stay and keep praying. I was fasting, losing weight, fat. I mean, it was crazy. And he just was not changing. But it was like, I had this click of, wait a minute, this is 8 months into this, and it's crazy. Do you know, first of all, do you know who I am? Yeah. Second of all, do you know who I'm gonna be, right? And third of all, I'm out of here. And so I left within 30 days, within 90 days I filed, within 6 months it was over. But I chose the process of okay, this is real. I've got to get away from things that are going to hurt me, because I had read so many books. So I knew from an emotional intelligence standpoint that I had to limit myself with people, or I was going to go off on people, or I was going to do something crazy to people, you know? And so I ended up getting a new phone number. I unfollowed everybody on social media. We're still friends, but I unfollowed most people so I could be on social building a business, but not being traumatized every time I was on social media. I also enrolled in counseling. I did an in-person counseling. I was doing online counseling. Every single day I would wake up crying, talk to God. I would go to work. At my lunch break, I would cry, go back to work. And I would come home and I would sit and just pray and cry every day. And I told myself, I'm going to cry until, and I'm just going to let myself feel everything that I'm feeling and not act like I don't feel that way. But at the same time, limiting myself with people so that people wouldn't re-traumatize me, you know? And so I was just crying and praying and writing and counseling. And it was very, very beneficial. I wasn't reading very many books during that time. It was more so just pouring out my heart, all the bad things I wanted to have happen to him, you know, all the things. I was just getting them out of my heart and just allowing myself to basically be detoxed, you know. And the books that I had read years prior were just coming. They were while I was pouring, it was re-pouring back into me.
Incredible. And again, back to what you chose to read, your books, your foundation, creating that core to help get you through. And I mean, you are a strong woman. Just to put that out there. I mean, just hearing how, you know, you feel awful, you don't know which way to turn, but yet you kept going. And I mean, that is incredible. So just want to recognize that for a minute.
Oh, thank you. I'm always still surprised. If I could be honest, I tell my best friend all the time, I look back and go, I really went through a divorce. Like, everybody knew that I've gone through divorce. And I was like, I really didn't hit him. I didn't go to jail. I didn't tell anybody publicly that we went through divorce until I got on TikTok. No, that he cheated until I got on TikTok 5 months ago. A few people knew, and people online could have speculated, but for 6 years I had never said it because I was protecting him. And I had this moment where it was like, why am I protecting him? Like, I'm not trying to shame him, but this is what happened. Let's put it out there. And then everything went kaboom on TikTok. I was like, oh, now I'm the divorce lady.
It's a fun title to have, right?
I guess.
So, you know, you were really inspired by all these books you were reading, and something you haven't mentioned yet is that you're also an author. So, did you pull from that a lot, like knowing how they inspired you? Is that what made you want to write, or was this something you always knew was, you know, on your roadmap?
Yeah, you know, I think my whole life, I think everybody always says, I'm going to write a book. And I would say it my whole life. I'm going to be real honest here. Like, I knew I would write a book one day, but I was like, I didn't think I was a very gifted writer. I thought that I would speak it and somebody else would write it. You know, the book is called Before You Quit Your Job. And I wrote it because I got so annoyed watching people quit their jobs too soon in network marketing, watching so many people quit their jobs too soon because the coach or guru they invested in told them to quit their job, but hadn't really taught them how to be a successful entrepreneur, not make money, but a real entrepreneur. So I was just like so frustrated, and the content came out of result of that. But what ended up really happening was when I moved to California, I felt like I heard God say, okay, it's time to write, and I want you to write that book. And I was like, okay, I'm going to write it. And so one day I posted on my Instagram story, I'm writing a book. And for whatever reason, that day was the day of all days, Chalene Johnson decides, I'm going to go look at Kenya's Instagram story. She sees what I post, and not only does she share it in her story, but she tells her whole Facebook community to come and encourage me. She didn't know I wasn't literally writing anything at that moment. And when I saw it, I said, I got to write a book. And I just started writing. And in 3 weeks, we wrote 25,000 words.
3 weeks. Oh my gosh.
Like the Energizer Bunny over there.
But every day I would post on Facebook, listen, I need to write 3,000 words. Y'all got to encourage me, inbox me, text me, do whatever you got to do. And people were just encouraging me every day for 3 weeks. I was like, Jesus, I don't know how I'm going to do this. But Chalene just told the whole world. So I ain't got no choice.
Yeah. She lit a fire under you.
Yeah.
She's awesome too.
No.
She is such an inspiration. That is awesome. Of all days, right? I mean, you just put it out there. So apparently the timing was right. It was time for you to get that book out.
Yes, God's timing. That should lead John.
Holy cow. And here you are. My goodness. Amazing. So I know that it's, 5 months. Well, this year it can feel like a long time, but 5 months for your ride in TikTok, that is fast. I mean, that is a lot of followers. That is huge. And you're over on Instagram and you're doing reels as well.
Yeah.
And so talk to us a little bit about kind of who you're coaching, who your ideal person is, so to speak, so that way they can reach out to you and kind of connect.
Yeah. So my ideal person is a female. She is 30 to 55 years in age. She is a new entrepreneur, but she's motivated. She's a self-starter, but has no idea what she's doing with branding and marketing. She's like, I want to do it. I will do it, but I don't know what I'm doing. And so when I'm on TikTok and I'm on Instagram Reels, I'm on there showing people, hey, listen, you can do this too. Here's the basics. Here's how to get clarity. Here's how to market on Reels. Here's how to do this. Here's how to do that. Because most people want to do it. They just don't know how to do it. And I like to take things that are complicated and make them simple.
That's awesome. That's a good language to speak.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I mean, I when I first got on TikTok, I was like, what is happening? And I'm like, how can I make this simple for other people? And that's what I do.
Oh my goodness. So good. We'll get back to that in a second. Sorry, Shauna, did you want to go?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know if I cut you off. Sorry. So Keenya, really quick back to your story though. There's another thing that I wanted to talk about when you found yourself homeless for 30 days and you had to figure out where to go and what to do from there. I mean, you have had a lot thrown at you, and look at you right now, still vibrant and smiling and showing us all that you just can't quit. Will you talk a little bit about that experience and how it in turn built you up?
Yeah. So I think this is the first time I've ever really talked about that publicly, but during the time,
Sorry.
it's okay. No, it's fine. I love it. It's fine. I'm just like, oh, I've never been asked that question before. But I remember when, it's gonna sound real bad, but I don't mean to make him look bad. But when everything was going down, like I'm a Jesus girl, so I believe in God and the devil, right? I believe in them both. And during the time when I found out, one day I was driving home from church and I could hear somebody saying, hey, if you just turn your car this way, that truck will hit you and you'll be in the hospital and he'll have to come in and care for you. And I was like, what is going on? And I'm just crying, just trying to get home. Like, oh my God, I just got to get home. I got to get home. And I remember like when I got home and I like trying to talk to him and he was just not having it, defiant, all the things. And I kept having all these taunting dreams when I would be at home. It was just awful. And I saw my pastor a couple of days later and he said, listen, I don't know him. I don't, whatever. He goes, but what I'm getting is that if you don't leave, he gonna hurt you. And I was like, he's never like, but I was like, Keenya, you know who your pastor is. You know he hears the Lord. Maybe you should go. And I didn't believe him. And we got into this big argument and it like got really heated. And it was in the moment I said, okay, he's not at that point, but what if he gets there? What he said could come to pass. And so I found myself going, I've got to get out of here because whatever's happening in this house with him, the devil's talking to me, trying to get me to do bad things to myself. And I just packed everything up that I could, put it in my car, and I went to work the next day. And I texted my friends, and I took half of the money that we had owned together. I was like, I'm not going to take everything. I'll just take half or whatever. And my friends were like, you've got to go somewhere. And I was like, I didn't know where to go. And so it wasn't much money, but my friends ended up sending me like a couple $100s, and they put me in one of those really, really cheap hotels or whatever. And so I was in this little hotel for like a month eating like $1 burgers from McDonald's for an entire month, crying every day and then going to work. Wow. It was awful.
Yeah, that will build you up or break you. And you chose to let it build you up. So
yeah. But when I look at other women or even men that have gone through it, I go, but I understand if they're still down. Like the difference between me and them is that at 19, somebody had me reading all these books. Like I didn't have cable for years. I would only watch things that were like motivational, inspirational, all the CDs, Danny Johnson and sermons and all that for years. So I'm like, the only reason why I'm like this is because of what happened to me when I was super young. So when I see people 10 years, 20 years still dealing with what they're dealing with, I'm like, I get it. If they didn't have my background of all of that stuff in me, there's no way I could be where I am today without all those John Maxwell books. No way. Well, God could do anything, but I attribute it to him and books.
Yeah, I think so much of God is clearly present in you. And I think that that's why people gravitate to you, because you don't judge. You know, you meet people where they're at, and you really bring this just understanding of whether or not you've been in that exact situation, you've been in something. And so you can relate, and you meet them where they are. And I mean, it's just hearing your story. I mean, I can't even imagine. I mean, I've gone through divorce myself, but I mean, not to the degree of living in a hotel and living off of dollar burgers. Like, so it's amazing the strength you have and how you now want to share that with others, because I think there is shame in some of these failures that we go through, and you paint it in such a beautiful way to not feel as though you failed. Like you said, like that's a failure itself, and so I just think it's a beautiful perspective.
I mean, I felt like a failure, and don't get me wrong, I still have my moments of like, I still have my moments of shame, like, oh, I'm divorced, like, I'm not a virgin. I'm like, I still deal with those little like, is a man gonna want me at this age? Or I'm 39, I still don't have any kids. You know, it's like, but I had to go, I'm amazing. Kids are no kids, man are no man. You know, I had to like, no, no, you're not, whatever. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
because otherwise you just be like, everything's awful. Everything's awful. And it's like, no, you're awesome. And every man on the planet wants you. They're just not bold enough to reach out.
I mean, you live in a town. I agree with that. You are awesome. You live in a town of 5 people, maybe a stoplight there. I don't know. How through COVID? I mean, you said TikTok helped. You heard Jesus tell you to do this, but like, just how do you stay so positive? Because it is easy to fall into that fear and take on a rut because of just what life has been for a lot of people this year, of not seeing, socializing, all of that.
Yeah. So for me, I do a lot of heart dumping. Like every morning I'm up at 5, I feed my cats, and I have my journal, and I just dump like everything that I'm feeling, thinking for the day, the day before, I just dump. And I learned how to dump when I was going through divorce, because I was like, I didn't have any outlet. And my pastor was like, you've got to write. And I didn't want to, but I did. And it was so therapeutic to just get all this stuff out of my heart. And so with everything with COVID, you know, the Black Lives Matter, you know, all the wars going on in our country, I mean, the election, all the things, you know, I found myself in many battles, like emotional battles, just like over and over and over again. And I remember one day God was just like, you're distracted. This is why you're so this, and this. And I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, you're distracted with this, and this. And it's pulled you over here. You're not even in the right heart space. And I'm like, oh, but the only reason why I could hear him tell me that is because every day I wake up and I'm writing and I'm praying and I talk to God as if he's like sitting right there in front of me. And I'm just like, so I feel sad. I feel depressed. I feel scared. Like I'm in a town of 100,000 people and only 900 of them are Black. And I'm like, Houston, we got a problem, you know, you know what I mean? And he's like, but is anybody messing with you? And I'm like, no. Is anybody? And I'm like, no. He goes, so what? I don't understand. And I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, you can't focus on what could happen to you. You can pray into all those things, but you can't let all that stuff overwhelm you. And every day, even today, I was like, Jesus, I just feel like, you know, and I just wrote it down. I feel, and then I had to flip the sheet over and go, but what's awesome? And I had to go, but actually, this is awesome, and this is awesome, and this is awesome. And so instead of me focusing on all things that are not going right, my whatever, I'm like, this is awesome, and everything is awesome. Because otherwise, if we focus on all the negative stuff, we would just keep staying down, down, down. Because technically speaking, the world is in a midlife crisis. It's like the whole world is in a crisis, and we get to either be in crisis or we get to be above it. But every day, every moment, we have to go, how can I be above this? And it's not like, oh, I'm just positive, you know, I'm Oprah. No, I have to like intentionally go, everything's going to be okay. everything's fine. It's like, even today, when I was putting on my outfit, I was like, but my stomach is not the way it used to be. I'm not used to all these things looking the way that they look. And I'm like, you're still hot. You're going to put on that dress as if you used to look at your stomach looking like that. And you're going to go on TikTok and somebody going to say, you look good. And that's exactly what happened, you know, but I had to talk to myself like, eat the cookie, girl, put on the thing, eat the carrots, you know, whatever, you know?
Yeah, it almost feels like it's constantly like sometimes you are always having these conversations of, you know, devil, angel, you know, shut up, you know, stop talking to me. I can do this. I'm awesome. I don't
Totally.
care. But it's like a muscle. It's like it's there every day. And like you said, that's part of your practice at 5 a.m. And I mean, people are always wondering what's the secret sauce, what's the secret way, how do you do it all, you know, how are you able to do this? But it sounds like you commit to a consistent routine, and you know, you have your faith, and you get out, you purge and get out what you need to, and focus on what's good.
Yeah, because you can't change everything. Like, you can't change the whole world. Like, I can't change my muffin top today, but I can have quinoa instead of that burger that I want to eat. You know what I mean? And feel good. I can go walk on the treadmill for 30 minutes. And in 6 months, I can look and go, oh, muffin top's a little bit smaller. You know what I mean? But I have to intentionally go, hey, I can do this or I can do that. And I think most people have to get into a practice of, hey, let me look at both. Because we're so used to this is in front of me, this is this. But it's like the little thing we have to go, all right, so let me start with today. You know, I think about, what's her name, Lisa Turkhurst, where I think her husband cheated and all the things, super public. And I guarantee you she had to go, okay, so he's repented. Day one, choose to forgive, not to punch him in the face. You know, like day two, you know, drink the coffee, not the vodka. You know what I mean? Like, you're like day three. You know what I mean? Like, and it sounds like dramatic as I'm saying it, but it's true. It's like day 4. You know, I think I posted on Instagram yesterday, back at it, day 5, back in the gym, you know, and that's my like public day 5, you know? Yeah.
Right. So you said your demographic is, you know, women 30 to, I think you said 55. So you're targeting women, and obviously religion has played a large part in your life, but are there strong females that you can identify that have inspired you or motivated you to be where you are today?
Yeah. So Oprah, obviously, I mean, we look at Oprah, where Oprah came from, you know, and where she is now. She's the most powerful woman almost in the world, you know, and not because she's Black, but because like in general, you look at like her and you're like, everybody knows her. Like, you look at all the things that she has done for others, everything she's overcome. I say to myself, like, maybe I can be the next Oprah, because she didn't have the background you would guess. She didn't have the money. She didn't have the weight, like as in physical weight. She didn't have any of the look that you're supposed to have in that time. And she is the most powerful woman, one of the most in the world. And I say to myself, every time I think that, oh, I can never be that, I go, no, 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 she is, you know. Today I look up to Ellen. I think Ellen is absolutely phenomenal. You know what I mean? She's got her quirks like all of us. But when you look at where Ellen started, you know, and then her coming out on TV, and dealing with all these she dealt with, to now being one of the most recognized women in the world, doing the most good. It's like, these are people that had the odds against them 100%, but have still risen and continue to rise above all the different things that they've gone through. You know what I mean? But I would also say probably the most influential person in my life has been the guy that recruited me in network marketing, you know, because he molded me, shaped me. He was like maybe 2 years older than me, you know, but he was so patient, so kind, forced me to read books, to where when I wrote my book, I called him last year and said, hey, I wrote a book. I wanted to know if you would write the foreword. He was like, what? I was like, yeah, I wrote a book and I want to sing you the audio. And the foreword he wrote was something that no one could write what he wrote. And I said, we're not changing anything. It's 100% authentic. And he has changed my life forever, because he was patient enough to see that I had something in me and was willing to help me and work with me.
I love that recognition. I love that, and how you reached out, and He's like, yes, absolutely. All of these years later, I mean, he has to, I mean, he saw something in you at that time, obviously, and that's huge. And Shauna and I talk about this a lot with our guests, but it's so cool to hear our guests talk about the steps that they went through and the changes and the you know, the ups, the downs, and where you are now and how all the dots connect.
Yeah, thank you. It's very exciting. It's weird to think about, but it's exciting.
Absolutely. And thank you for sharing a super vulnerable piece as well, just kind of about, you know, being homeless and a dollar burgers for a little bit. But I mean, that's part of your story now, which, you know, again, makes you so just powerful lessons you're sharing on overcoming fear for so many of us out there, everybody. And again, back to the beginning, that's what attracted us to you, was just your authenticity and your amazing energy. It's just so quick to pick up on. So yeah, and we'd love to hear more about, so I know, I mean, well, first of all, how do you set time at the end of the day to kind of reset, reprogram yourself, give yourself a little me time, because you do have a lot of things going on?
Yeah, so I get to work usually around 7:30, and then I leave at 5. I don't work over 5 unless I'm doing something very special. Then I will give myself. I won't get to the office until later. But usually, now that I'm working out again, I will go straight to the gym from my office, and that's my time. It's like me. I listen to podcasts, get on the treadmill, do my leg thing or whatever, and then I come home and I just play with my cats. Like, I have people that live with me, but I've made it very clear to them that, hey, I love y'all, but when I come home, I don't want to be bothered with you. I'll see you on the weekends, you know, because I'm like, I just need to decompress. And so a lot of times I'm in my room, like, you know, playing on TikTok, watching stuff, playing with one of my cats, watching Gilmore Girls over and over and over again. I just love that darn show, you know.
I mean, right?
It's so fun. It's like, and it's kind of innocent. It's not as much as the crazy stuff that you see on TV. So I do a lot of that. When we're not in quarantine, I would probably be traveling or cooking and hanging out with friends. But right now, I'm just usually watching Netflix, playing with my cats, or scrolling on TikTok.
Awesome. Good. Yeah, I was curious about your downtime and how you fit that in every day and everything. Sounds crucial.
Can you write some fan fiction for me and tell me who Rory's baby daddy is on Gilmore Girls? Like, that should be your next task. That's fun and entertaining.
It's gotta be Logan. Like, that was the last person she was with, right? We think.
I know there was the Wookiee.
The who?
There was the like random guy.
Not him. I forgot. Ooh, well,
I've taken us down a path. We'll bring it back. Renee, bring us back.
God.
Oh, I'm loving hearing it. I don't watch it, obviously, but I'm like, ooh, give me more details.
Oh, we got to get you in.
Oh, yeah, it's fun. That first episode, you're gonna be like, what is happening? But afterwards, you're gonna be hooked.
Yeah. I think, you know, I mean, that's so perfect that you watch that too, because it's a single mom, it's an empowered woman who's running her business. And I think, you know, that's the inspiration of Gilmore Girls, is it's the mom, it's then Lorelai. And so I can see where that connection comes back to you.
Yes, absolutely. Like, there's so many times on that show I wanted to punch her mama. You know, she did a good job handling her mama. Renee's like, what is going on? Very empowering woman.
Yeah, I think it has to go on my to watch list. I've added it.
Yeah, it's good. You'll enjoy it.
Keenya, tell us a little bit about where people obviously can connect with you. We've heard TikTok and Instagram, but if somebody wants to, I don't know, see more about what you're offering and maybe take a course, what can they do?
Yeah, so everything for me, you can find it on KeenyaKelly.com. We have like TikTok courses, Reels courses, and of course, branding and marketing stuff. And then all of our social media links are on KeenyaKelly.com as well.
Awesome.
So we ask every guest, and if you've watched any of our segments before, the red bra, you know, that was really developed from me and Renee chatting about wearing a red bra under your clothes because it gives you confidence, and knowing that you have it on makes you walk in that room and feel powerful and just, you know, command the audience. Yeah. So when you think about it like that, what do you think is a moment in your life where you had that power from the red bra?
Yeah, I would probably say, like, I think I talk about how I never told anybody that he cheated, like the public, until 5 months ago. But watching myself, like I remember the day when I launched KeenyaKelly.com. It was January 1st, 2017. And I did this whole like 7-day video campaign. And each day it was like 30-second videos. And that last day, like day one, there was this powerful 15-second video of me, my face, my name. And at the end of the video, it just said KeenyaKelly.com, right? And I watched that video over and over again. And it's just like, this is my moment. This is my bounce back. And I remember when I hit post on Facebook, it was that moment where it was like, screw everybody else, right? Like, yes, this happened to me. Yes, I will not shame him. I will not be shamed. I am back. Right. And that moment that I hit post and watch all the comments and all the likes, all the shares was like, I did it. Even though I hadn't made any money from that brand, that was that moment where I said, I've got this and I'm not going to shame him, but I'm back the way that I am. I'll never forget that moment.
Oh, I love it. I could just see it in my head, the website flashing.
Yes, it's awesome.
Oh, that's so good. So good. I love it. Thank you for sharing that.
Of course.
And thank you so much for joining us and being our guest tonight, part of the Red Bra Project. We're so excited to be in one another's community and cheering you on, and just absolutely love everything about you. So thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much. This is amazing.
Thank you. And just so you know, we end every show with a quote. And the one that Renee and I found for you, we just think, based on everything, your resiliency, your faith, that this fit you so well. And it's the moment you start acting like life is a blessing is when it starts to feel like one.
That's good.
I think it is perfect for you.
Wow, that's amazing. It's very encouraging.
Awesome.
You're very encouraging.
Thank you.
For sure. And thank you everybody for tuning in. Please, if you hear Keenya's story and you know somebody who could use to hear it, who could use it in their life, please share it with them. Make sure to hit the subscribe button for our weekly reminders for our guest highlights. Join the party over at the Red Bra Project. That's where most of everything happens. And you can meet incredible women, hear these stories of hope, inspiration, and just, you know, there is a way to rise up when you're challenging, and we can all inspire one another. So thank you for taking the time with us.
Yay.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.